Welcome to LEN Daily News. I'm Emma Perez.
And I'm Luke Morris. This evening, we have news coming from Washington, D.C. A new Justice Department report claims that DEA agents in Colombia participated in sex parties with prostitutes that were hosted by drug cartels. In response to this, the agents have been promoted to the Secret Service.
In news from Capitol Hill, Congress has voted to cut the military budget in its annual appropriations vote, decreasing the funds available to the Department of Defense, which carries out most military undertakings for our country. Many military personnel officials, including Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel, have spoken out against these cuts, saying that these across-the-board cuts could do real damage to our security, our troops and their families, and our ability to protect the nation. However, many economists have held that this is a shift in the production possibilities curve that is good for the country.
The production possibilities curve is used by economists to depict all maximum output capabilities for two or more goods, or types of goods, given a set of inputs using full employment of resources. The production possibilities curve utilizes the idea of opportunity cost to demonstrate that as more of one good or type of good is produced, less of the other good can be produced efficiently. Points along the curve represent feasible combinations. Points above the curve can only be achieved through a shift, which can occur through a change in resource quality or quantity, a change in technology, or a change in trade.
The common production possibilities curve used by economists to demonstrate trade-offs in the macroeconomy is the example of guns and butter. As a nation produces more guns, that is, produces more military products and spends more of its resources and money on the armed forces, it can spend less on butter. That is, it can spend less on the general welfare of the people.
In the case of the military budget cuts, the United States Congress has decided to spend less on guns and more on butter. The military budget cut indicate that the U.S. is moving away from its large military budget of $581 billion in 2014. This shows that the U.S. is interested in spending more money on butter to promote the general welfare of its populace. This would be considered a movement along the PPC, as the United States is moving from a point of higher military spending and lower welfare spending to a point of lower military spending and higher welfare spending. This remains an efficient employment of U.S. resources, as there are no missed opportunities. So long as the United States remains on its PPC, it will remain efficient. Once the U.S. functions at a point beneath its PPC, it is inefficiently using its resources. A point beneath the curve could be caused by a large unemployment rate, a natural disaster, a decrease in technology, or a decrease in trade.
Now for a brief commercial message from our sponsors.
The production possibility curve is an important economic concept that not enough children in America are aware of. For only 5 cents a day, you can have children, much like this, learn this important concept and transform them from this. Do you guys know what the production possibility curve is?
I don't know.
To this.
Oh, the production possibilities curve is a graphical representation of the trade-offs an economy faces between two goods or two different types of goods. It can show economic growth or economic shrinkage and is shifted by trade, quantity, and quality of resources and technology.
If you wish to donate for this very important cause, then call 1-800-PPC-4ME. Thank you.
This week, Senator Rand Paul announced his candidacy for the Republican presidential nomination. He repeatedly asked voters to imagine what the country would look like with him as its leader. And then he repeatedly asked voters to stop laughing. And now in Moscow, to report the latest on sanctions imposed on Russia, we have Emma Perez. Emma?
Thank you, Emma. The United States has increased economic sanctions against Russia in light of Vladimir Putin's annexation of Crimea and aggressive actions in the Ukraine. Officials from the Kremlin have reported that these sanctions will be extremely damaging to Russia's economy as well as the global economy. This will shift the production possibilities curve, which represents potential prospects for the production of a pair of products or type of products. The PPC shows the different combinations of two goods that can be produced using full employment of resources. The PPC demonstrates the concept of opportunity cost, as it shows how much of one good one gives up to produce more of the other. It demonstrates the concept of resource scarcity because an economy cannot produce at a point beyond the curve without a shift. It demonstrates the concept of efficiency, as a point below the PPC is inefficient because all resources are not being fully employed. A PPC can be a straight curve when the opportunity cost is constant due to the resources used to produce the two goods being similar. A PPC can be a bowed out curve when the opportunity cost is increasing, as the resources are unrelated. Russia's production possibilities curve will shift as a result of these sanctions imposed by the United States, one of Russia's largest trade partners. Trade and specialization is one of the determinants of the production possibilities curve, along with quantity and quality of resources. A reduction in trade with other countries will cause the PPC to shift inward, reflecting that at any combination of goods, that country can produce less. While an outward curve of the shift would reflect growth, an inward shift would reflect shrinkage. Russia can no longer produce at the point it once did.
Since the PPC has shifted in, Russia's economy can now produce fewer goods to export to other countries. This, coupled with the decline in oil prices, has significantly harmed Russia's exports, which are relied upon throughout all of Europe, who trades heavily with the rest of the world, including the United States. These sanctions will make the Russian economy hurt, but as a side effect, it might hurt our economy as well. Back to you, Luke and Emma.
Now with news about the Affordable Care Act, we go to Luke Morris. Luke?
Thank you, Luke. Welcome to the Economy Minute. Conservative think tank Heritage Foundation recently released reports concerning the Affordable Care and Patient Protection Act, known colloquially as Obamacare. The report claims that Obamacare has resulted in a declining quality of life for the average American since 2009. They claim that Americans are forced to make a trade-off using the PPC. The report holds that the choice faced by Americans is between health insurance and entertainment. The research reveals that consumers in recent years have found themselves in a situation where they are being forced to give up entertainment because of the rising cost of health insurance. There's been a movement along the curve as Americans are forced to spend more money on health insurance and less money on entertainment and leisure activities. As a result, the opportunity cost increases as Americans spend more money on health care. This demonstrates the law of diminishing returns, which holds that as the economy moves along the PPC, there's increasing opportunity costs to produce more of one good or type of good. Back to you at LEN headquarters.
In news relating to Obamacare, Senator Ted Cruz, one of President Obama's harshest critics, also asked Americans to do some imagining. Imagine in 2017 a new president signing legislation repealing every word of Obamacare. The next day after making the statement, Senator Ted Cruz announced he would be signing up for Obamacare.
That is so ironic.
Isn't it? And that's the news for this evening. From the desk of LEN Daily News, I'm Emma Perez.
And I'm Luke Morris. Thank you for tuning in.